Hey guys, Coach Sharf here. Welcome back to my videos on this first practice test. You should have done problems 12 through 22 by now. It is Wednesday night, so I'm going to go over those and should have been working on 23 through 33, which I will record and post tomorrow. All right. So, problem number 12. Rita is creating an abstract design that includes the figure below. She wants to prove angle PQR is congruent, if you can see that, congruent to TSR. What additional information would she need, or she knows that, excuse me, back up. She knows that those angles are congruent. What additional information would she need to prove that PQR is congruent to TSR using angle, side, angle? So, let me draw that on the board. Give me just a second. Okay, there we go. So not quite as angled as the problem is, but let me draw it out. All right, so it says PQR congruent to TSR. So PQR, that angle, TSR would be that angle. Okay. I know these two angles are congruent because they're vertical angles. So there's my two angles, and I need angle, side, angle. So again, that's going to be the side in between, which is going to be QR and RS, or SR, so D. So number 12 is D. So if you're going to do that on your own to turn in, you can draw the diagram like I have right there, marking angle, side, angle. All right, 13. Something we just did last week and I talked about in class. Rebecca is loading medical supply boxes into a crate. Each box is 1.5 feet tall, 1 foot wide, and 2 feet deep. The crate is 9 feet high, 10 feet wide, and 10 feet deep. So we're taking smaller boxes and putting them into a bigger one. So you get the volume of the little one, volume of the big one, and divide it. Okay, so the little one is 1.5 times 1, which is 1.5, times 2, which is 3. So the little ones are 3 cubic feet. The crate is 9 times 10 times 10. So I'll write it out real quick, but it's going to be 900. 9 times 10 is 90. Times 10, 900. So you got 900 divided by 3, which is 300. So that is going to be B, 300. Okay, just like we did yesterday. All right, 14 is one I have briefly talked about. Let me put the phone down here for a second while I'm still recording so I can erase my whiteboard. 14 is one I've talked about occasionally in class. I've not gone over it a lot, okay? So the sum of the interior measures of a 14-sided polygon, okay? So I'm about to write two formulas that are not on your formula sheet, okay? Let me write these real quick. All right, so we've got the sum of interior angles, okay? So we know all the angles inside a triangle add up to 180 degrees, inside a quadrilateral 360. The formula for that is n minus 2 times 180. So the number of sides, number of angles, same thing, minus 2 times 180. To get the measure of one interior angle, it would be n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. So for example here, an equilateral triangle, 3 minus 2 is 1 times 180. 180 divided by 3 is 60. Okay, so we want the sum of the measures for 14-sided polygons. So we want to use the one on the left. So I've got 14 minus 2, which is 12, times 180, which I believe would give you 2160. So that would be B. All right. 15. what is the midpoint of PQ? So this one, if you look at it, has a slope of -1. So you can count it out. There's also the midpoint formula, which you add the x coordinates divided by 2, add the y coordinates divided by 2. But this one, I don't even really think you need it. So you just need to count it out. So the line crosses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squares. So we want to go halfway to 6. So we're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like that puts us at 2, 0, which is A. So there we go. Get my pinky out of the shot. So A. Nice. So just like that, 4 problems in less than 6 minutes. Not too bad. All right. This one's going to be pretty quick too. Parallel lines in a transversal. Again, I think this is one of the things y'all got the most. What angles are congruent to 4? 4 is up here. So we know 3 is congruent because it's vertical. Okay. We know 8 is congruent because it is corresponding. And we also know 7 is congruent because of alternating exterior angles. So I've got 3, 7, and 8, which is D. Pretty easy question on that one, I believe. All right, 17. A manufacturer is designing a 2-wheeled cart that can maneuver through tight spaces. On one test, the wheel placement in radius is modeled by the equation x plus 2 plus x minus y, x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 4. So this is the equation of a circle. So this was the next thing we were going to get to, although I was probably going to skip and just touch on it. So that is on your formula sheet. Equation of a circle. Okay, we can actually derive it from completing a square, but when it's just given to you like this, all you need to know is h is the x coordinate of the center of the circle, k is the y coordinate, and the 4 that it's equal to is r squared. So 4 is equal to r squared, which would mean you would take the square root of both sides, the radius would be 2. The other thing is h and k are negative, so whatever numbers are given to you, you have to actually take the opposite sign. So if we come back and look at it, we've got x plus 2, y minus 1. So we take the opposite sign, we really want -2, +1 as our center. And then again, r squared is 4. Square root both sides, the radius is 2. So my center is 2, 1, radius of 2. If I go look at my 4 answer choices, okay, A and B are the only ones with a center at -2, 1. But if you look at it, this A has a radius of 2, B has a radius of 4. So it tries to get you that you forget to take the square root. So your answer for this one is A. All right, 18. ABCD is a rhombus. So I'm going to try to read this while I'm erasing with one hand. How do you complete the explanation that states why triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA? So let me draw this rhombus, again, one-handed while I am talking and recording. AB is congruent to CD, and BC is congruent to DA by the definition of a rhombus. So again, we didn't necessarily go over a rhombus. A rhombus is the exact same as a parallelogram, except it has the one extra caveat that all 4 side lengths are equal, okay? The opposite sides are still congruent to each other, so AD and BC, AB and CD, which is what we just was stating, what we're about to mark, but they're actually also congruent to each other, but that's not necessarily the important thing right now. So, AB is congruent to CD, and AD is congruent to BC, okay? Also says AC is equal to AC by the reflexive property. We already seen that a couple times. So 1, 2, 3 right down the middle. There's my 2 triangles, and they are congruent by side, 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 which is D. There we go. All right, just cruising along here with this one. Another midpoint one. We actually have another one coming up too. What is the y coordinate of the midpoint of WU? So yeah, I think finding midpoints is pretty easy. Here's W, here's U. If you're just looking at the y coordinate, then just look at the y coordinate. Don't even worry about the x coordinate. So W is at has a y coordinate of -4. U has a y coordinate of 1. So this one you might actually need to do the math because you don't have a line that you can kind of count. So you got -4 and +1 divided by 2, which is -3 over 2, which is -1.5, which is B. So again, you can just show something like that real quick. That's all you need to show. All right, 20. You don't even need to show any work on this one. How many vertices does the polyhedron have? Again, some of these guys, you don't need to show work. I mean, if you really want to draw this pentagonal prism and, you know, number the vertices, that's fine. But again, all vertices is where 2 or more edges meet. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the back. So that gives me 10, which is D. All right, 2 more problems and 11 minutes in. So this one's going a little quicker than yesterday's. I'm sure some of y'all will like that. All right, figure shown is a kite. What is the x coordinate of point P? Again, another midpoint one. So you could plug in numbers for A here and try to work with that. But another pretty easy thing to do is, again, you're just going to add the 2x coordinates and divide by 2. So if I come over here, I've got A plus 4 over 2. If I add my 2a's in my numerator, I've got 2a plus 4 over 2. 2a divided by 2 just leaves me a. 4 divided by 2 is 4, so that leaves me a plus 2, which is C. All right. One more. Community is building a square park with sides that measure 120 meters. To separate the picnic area from the play area, the park is split by a diagonal line from opposite corners. Determine the approximate length of the diagonal line that splits the square. If necessary, round your answer to the nearest meter. So, you got a square park, 2 triangles, okay? So, when we're going to draw this, okay? Let's remember what we got. We've got, it told us this is 120, this is 120, right? Let's look at just this triangle though, okay? We know that all 4 sides are 120, right? So you could really do that if you wanted to. But if I just look at this triangle, I've got, I know it's a little off. Again, I'm trying to look at this drawing through the angle. I've got 120 and 120. It's a square, so I know that that's a right angle. So I'm looking for this. I'll put X, okay? So I've got 2 legs and the hypotenuse, so you could just do the Pythagorean formula, okay? So I've got 120 squared plus 120 squared. Again, if you don't remember the Pythagorean formula, Pythagorean theorem is right there on top of your formula sheet, equals x squared. It's going to give me, again, you can punch that in your calculator, but I know what it's going to give me. 14,400 plus 14,400, which is going to be 28,800 equals x squared. Square root both sides. Some of y'all, depending on your calculator, might get this to show up as 120 times the square root of 2. But you need to figure a workaround around that if your calculator's doing that. Most of you, if you just punch that in your calculator, that is going to give you, I forget the exact number here, and I don't have my calculator handy. Give me just a second. Let me pull it up on the computer. Show that real quick. I know the answer is going to be 170. I do know that, but I want to see exactly what this gives you. Okay, so 120 times that second function. There we go. I did 120 times the square root of 120. All right, let me back up. Let me clear that. Where's clear? All right, 120 times the square root of 2. There we go. The 1.41 is the square root of 2. I got it up there, so I hit equals. And it gives me 169.7. which I will round up to 170B. All right, so there we go.